Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds talks with French President Emmanuel Macron. Modi reiterates support to the EU while Macron promises to support India at NSG. Two army jawans killed in a terrorist ambush on an army convoy on the Jammu-Srinagar highway. NIA conducts multiple raids across 3 states in connection with terror funding in the valley. Election Commission's EVM hackathon challenge ends in Delhi. NCP and CPIM participate, even as EC reiterates that the EVMs cannot be tampered with. And United Nations expands sanctions against North Korea for continuing its missile test despite warning. China calls for peaceful settlement of issue. On the last leg of the journey to 4 European countries, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met French President Emmanuel Macron for summit-level talks in Paris. He is currently addressing the media. Let's listen in.
और मुझे खुशी हुई कि राष्ट्रपति जी की इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस के इस उपक्रम को आगे बढ़ाने के पीछे उनका एक कमिटमेंट है और वो स्वयं मुझे पूछ रहे थे कि बताइए हम कैसे आगे बढ़ेंगे। मैं समझता हूं कि अपने आप में इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस का उज्जवल भविष्य मैं देख रहा हूं, क्योंकि फ्रांस और भारत ने मिलकर के ही इस कल्पना को जन्म दिया और आदरणीय राष्ट्रपति जी इसको आगे बढ़ाने के लिए कृतनिश्चयी हैं और उनके नेतृत्व में इस बात को हम सफलता को प्राप्त करेंगे। मानवता के सामने 2 बड़े खतरे हैं। एक की जैसे मैंने चर्चा की, क्लाइमेट, बहुत लोग उसको देख नहीं पाते हैं, इनविजिबल है कुछ लोगों के लिए। दूसरा है आतंकवाद। आतंकवाद को हम देख पाते हैं, आतंकवाद को हम अनुभव कर पाते हैं, आतंकवाद की भयानकता हम सुन पाते हैं। आतंकवाद के कारण बच्चे, बूढ़े, महिलाएं, निर्दोष लोग मौत के घाट उतार दिए जाते हैं। फ्रांस का हर बच्चा भली भांति आतंकवाद की भयानकता को समझता है, अनुभव की है। आज विश्व का बहुत सारा हिस्सा इस संकट से गुजर रहा है। आज हमने बड़े विस्तार से इस विषय की चर्चा की है कि आतंकवाद से बचने के रास्ते क्या होंगे, टेक्नोलॉजी का उसमें जिस प्रकार से इस्तेमाल हो रहा है उस पर हम सतर्कता कैसे बरतें, साथ मिलकर के कैसे काम करें, रेडिकलाइजेशन के सामने डी रेडिकलाइजेशन की मूवमेंट को हम कैसे बल दें और विश्व शांति और सद्भावना की दृष्टि से कैसे आगे बढ़े, उस दिशा में हमने चर्चा की है। भारत की हमेशा सोच रही है यूरोपियन एकता के संबंध में, यूनाइटेड यूरोपियन यूनियन, प्रगतिशील यूरोपियन यूनियन, सशक्त यूरोपियन यूनियन, इसके हम पक्षकार रहे हैं। और मैं चाहूंगा कि फ्रांस की ऊर्जावान, विजनरी, यंग नेतृत्व न सिर्फ फ्रांस को लेकिन यूरोपियन यूनियन को भी एक नई ताकत देने के लिए अपना योगदान जरूर देगा। एक सफल यूरोपियन यूनियन ताका हो चाहे आतंकवाद का हो, हम दोनों मिल करके इस मानवता के काम को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Well, there you have it, of course, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the French President Emmanuel Macron, of course, speaking to the media there in a joint presser, talking about what's likely to happen in the near future and what tops the agenda as far as both the countries are concerned and as far as Asia and Europe too are concerned. Well, joining me for a chat right now is our correspondent Akhilesh Suman. Akhilesh, you know, the Prime Minister making it very clear there that there are 2 things that are on top of his agenda. One is climate and, of course, second and more importantly, terror.
Yeah, Frank, actually, the world you see, the world is not the same as it was a year before. After Donald Trump became the president, and now after One Belt, One Road, and consistent cross-border terrorism from Pakistan, terrorist attacks in many of the European countries has virtually forced the world to think otherwise. And Prime Minister with this agenda is going everywhere and reiterating the fact that terrorism should be fought together and there should be no differentiation between good terrorists and bad terrorists. And as you remember that France has been attacked by terrorists just a few months earlier, and it has not stopped in the past. It has happened many a times. So it is a, you may say that it is a convergence of opinion about this fact. And after this, that when Mr. Trump told that he will be exiting from the climate change pact, the French, the Germans, everyone is very disturbed because the climate change agenda is not the conglomeration of the world countries that have decided that we have to go in such a way that developing countries can get some sort of compensation so that they can get clean energy technology. So Mr. Trump is trying to disturb the whole fabric of the climate change pact, and that is why there is a concern in among French also. And as you know that there has been international solar alliance between India and France, and when Prime Minister Narendra Modi had gone to France last time, this solar alliance was launched. So you can understand the sense of unanimity between India and France. And when the new president, Mr. Macron, is there, he has recently been elected, and this is the time that Prime Minister Narendra Modi wants to create some sort of organic understanding with him. So that is why Prime Minister, when he has started his speech, he told that I have given very few days for President to, that I am coming here, and he was very grateful that President Macron wanted to meet him. So you can say that it's a continuity in the relationship that India wanted to have with the French, and you know that Rafale deal is done and Rafale has to be supplied to India. So I think that Prime Minister Narendra Modi wanted a continuation in the that was coming from the past, and it should continue in President Macron's tenure also.
Right, all right. Akhilesh Suman, we'll have to leave to that. Thank you so much, there, for joining us with those details and putting things into perspective for us and bringing us up to date with the latest. Moving on now, of course, 2 army jawans were killed and 4 others injured in a terrorist ambush on an army convoy on the Jammu-Srinagar highway on Saturday. The attack comes just hours after the Pakistani army violated the ceasefire along the line of control in Poonch and neighbouring sectors.
2 Jawans were killed and 4 others seriously injured after terrorists attacked an army convoy on Jammu-Srinagar National Highway in Kulgam district. The convoy was moving from Udhampur to Srinagar when it was fired upon by terrorists. Terrorist outfit Hizbul Mujahideen has claimed responsibility for the attack. The area was cordoned off and traffic on the Srinagar-Jammu highway stopped soon after the attack.
पाकिस्तान की ये फितरत है जूते खाना और उसके बाद फिर जो है ऐसी बात करना, हरकत करना, जवाब दिया जा रहा है और सख्ती से दिया जा रहा है, उसको माकूल जवाब फिर मिलेगा। जो शहीद हुए हैं उनको मेरी जो है श्रद्धांजलि है और हम उनको पूरा कड़ा जवाब देंगे और आर्मी को सिचुएशन को डील करने के लिए बाकी जो है पूरा शूट है, ये जो है वो अपने तरीके से सिचुएशन को डील कर रहे हैं।
In another incident, Pakistan violated ceasefire once again in Jammu and Kashmir's Krishna Ghati sector along the line of control. Earlier on Friday, Pakistani troops violated ceasefire along the line of control in Poonch district. 1 soldier and a civilian were injured in the shelling by Pakistan.
Pakistan has a very poor and a dismal record of human right respect, and it is also guilty of human right violations within its own territory in the provinces of Balochistan and the India's occupied territory of Pak-occupied Jammu Kashmir, Gilgit, Baltistan. So the epicenter of the gravest form of human right violation in this region or in the Indian subcontinent is none other than Pakistan.
हम लोग भी बहुत घबराए हैं, ये शाहपुर के एरिया है, तो उधर से पाकिस्तान वालों ने फायरिंग शुरू की थी, जहां से हिंदुस्तान वाले भी अपना जवाब दे रहे हैं, तो जहां बहुत खतरा हो चुका है और चारों तरफ धुआं ही धुआं है।
छोटा बच्चा कह रहा था बाहर जाऊंगा, उसको लेके बाहर गई, मकान के चंदे उधर गोला लगा मकान के पास।
Meanwhile, mobile internet services have been restored in the valley after 7 days of suspension following protests in wake of killing of Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist Sabzar Ahmed Bhatt.
की है सर, काफी खुशी भी है आज इंटरनेट। गवर्नमेंट को इंटरनेट पे बैन करनी ही नहीं चाहिए। अगर इनको कोई सोशल नेटवर्किंग पे कोई प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं तो इन्हें कुछ उन प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व करना चाहिए, ना कि हर किसी को फिर उस प्रॉब्लम में डालना चाहिए।
आज की दुनिया है वो खाली नेट पे ही चल रही है। इंटरनेट फैसिलिटी जब तक दुनिया में नहीं हो, किसी खिते में नहीं होगी, तब तक उसका कोई काम नहीं होगा। आप बैंक्स में जाइए, आप स्कूलों में जाइए, आप दुकानों ताजरों को देखिए, कितनी परेशानी हो जाती है। आजकल सब कुछ ऑनलाइन करना पड़ता है।
Earlier in the day, Army Chief General Bipin Rawat called on Jammu and Kashmir Governor N.N. Vohra and discussed the internal and external security management issues in the state. The meeting comes after the army concluded its security review and operational preparedness meetings in the valley. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the National Investigation Agency on Saturday conducted multiple raids in several locations across 3 states in connection with terror funding in the valley. The raids were conducted at as many as 23 locations in Kashmir, Delhi and Haryana. The agency raided houses and offices of at least 8 Hawala dealers and traders in the national capital. According to reports, around 1.5 crore rupees in cash and several important documents were seized. The letterheads of terror organizations Lashkar-e-Toiba and Hizbul Mujahideen, pen drives, laptops were also seized from these locations. The agency began its probe into the terror funding allegations after a separatist leader confessed of receiving money for subversive activities in Jammu and Kashmir in a sting operation.
No, I think the people of Kashmir want it this way. They want the normalcy to be restored as soon as possible. They want the bluff to be called of some of those so-called protagonists of Kashmir who tend to mislead the youth. And most of all, the youth of Kashmir is keen to be a part of the development journey led by Prime Minister Modi.
और यही लोग, अलगाववादी लोग ने कश्मीर घाटी में आज जो विध्वंस का एक वातावरण बना है, जिस प्रकार से युवा पीढ़ी वहाँ बर्बाद हो रही है, स्कूल कॉलेज जिस प्रकार से बंद होते हैं और युवा पीढ़ी स्कूल और कॉलेज न जाकर के अपनी नौकरी नहीं करके जिस प्रकार से सड़कों पर उतर करके पत्थरबाजी में लिप्त पाए जाते हैं, इनके पीछे मुख्य रूप से जो ब्रेन है, जो माइंड है, जो रणनीति है, इन अलगाववादियों की है और देश विरोधी ताकतों की है.
Home Minister Rajnath Singh has said that the law and order situation in the country is under control. Speaking to reporters in Delhi, marking 3 years of the NDA government, Rajnath Singh also reaffirmed the centre's commitment to bring peace in Kashmir.
Home Minister Rajnath Singh has asserted that the centre is working towards a permanent solution to the Kashmir issue. Even as he once again slammed Pakistan for sponsoring terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir, the Home Minister expressed confidence over the government's efforts to eliminate militancy and cross-border terrorism in the valley.
यहाँ तक जम्मू कश्मीर का सवाल है, उस संबंध में भी मैं ये कहूँगा कि वहाँ की स्थिति में भी काफ़ी सुधार हुआ है. हमें अपने जवानों तथा जनता के ऊपर पूरा भरोसा है कि हम शीघ्र ही स्थिति को पूरी तरह से नियंत्रित करने में कामयाब होंगे.
Addressing a press conference on the achievements of the Home Ministry in the last 3 years, Singh said despite India having the second largest Muslim population in the world, Islamic State has failed to grab a foothold in the country.
IS आज तक भारत में अपना पैर नहीं जमा पाया है. इंडियन मुजाहिदीन के 5 ऑपरेटिव्स को NIA स्पेशल कोर्ट द्वारा कैपिटल पनिशमेंट दिया गया है. इससे स्वाभाविक है कि उनकी कमर टूटी है. इसी तरह केंद्रीय एवं राज्य सरकारों की एजेंसीज के बेहतर कोऑर्डिनेशन के कारण हमें IS के खतरे को कंट्रोल करने में भी एक बड़ी कामयाबी हासिल हुई है.
Singh also said that the number of deaths due to violence has come down in the past 3 years of the NDA government. According to the Home Minister, Naxal attacks too have reduced by 25% since the Narendra Modi-led government came to power, compared to UPA's last term from 2011 to 2014.
कुल मिलाजुलाकर सुरक्षा की स्थिति नियंत्रण में है और आप जानते हैं कि 2015-16 में देश के हिंटरलैंड में केवल 2 आतंकवादी वारदातें हुई हैं, पंजाब के गुरदासपुर में और पठानकोट में. और हिंसक घटनाओं में मरने वालों की संख्या में भी 42% की कमी आई है. और LWE कैडर के एलिमिनेशन में 65% की बढ़ोतरी.
Each for the challenge. However, the Election Commission reiterated that the EVMs cannot be tampered with.
The Election Commission of India held the EVM challenge on Saturday. Two political parties, the NCP and the CPIM, participated in the challenge, sending 3 representatives each. Both parties sent experts in electronics to the hackathon. However, both contended that they were there just to understand the machines and not actually hack them.
The NCP team again met the commission, where the commission reiterated their offer that they can still participate in the challenge, or by way of an academic exercise they could participate in the challenge, or could also participate by way of academic exercise by selecting the electronic voting machine and then accessing the memory and battery number by opening the machines themselves.
The Election Commission also said that all future elections will be conducted using VVPAT, and it reiterated that no EVM can be tampered with nor its results changed.
Firmly believes that the use of VVPAT machines along with the EVMs in all polling stations in all future elections will bring utmost transparency and credibility in the EVM-based voting system.
For the hackathon challenge, the Commission had brought out 14 EVMs used in the recent Punjab, Uttarakhand and UP polls. Of these, the party representatives were allowed to choose 4 machines each. The challenge was organized after several major opposition parties had claimed that the faith of the people in the machines had eroded due to allegations of tampering. Anu Divan's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, all the states have agreed to a July 1st rollout of the goods and services tax. This after the GST Council cleared pending rules, including transition provisions and returns. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley chaired the 15th meeting of the GST Council on Saturday. The GST Council had last month put over 1,200 goods and 500 services in the 4 tax brackets of 5, 12, 18 and 28%. The Council decided the tax rate of 6 items including gold, textiles and footwear. Footwear below 500 rupees at 5%, while the rest will be charged 18% tax. Well, farmers in Maharashtra have called off their strike after a meeting with Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis. The Chief Minister assured the protesting farmers that he also promised farmers that the state government will solve the problem of debts by 31st October. The Chief Minister also said that the state government has accepted the farmers' demands and will forgive the loans of only those who are not able to pay the debt, and will make a committee who will solve the problems of milk traders.
किसानों ने और उनके भाइयों ने ये जो एक हड़ताल घोषित की थी, इस हड़ताल को वापस लिया है, इसलिए मैं उनका भी यहाँ पर अभिनंदन करना चाहता हूँ। और आगे भी किसानों के लिए राज्य सरकार काम करती रहेगी। उस संदर्भ में राज्य सरकार ने उनको आश्वस्त किया कि जो किसान ओवरड्यू हो गए, कर्जा नहीं भर पाए, थकित है, अड़चन में है, तकलीफ में है, ऐसे अल्पभूधारक छोटे मझोले किसानों को राज्य सरकार मदद करेगी। उनका कर्जा जो है वो राज्य सरकार की ओर से भरा जाएगा।
Well, let's take a look now at all the other developments from across the country and nationwide. The CBSE on Saturday announced Class 10 results for Allahabad, Chennai, Delhi, Dehradun and Trivandrum regions. The Central Board has further clarified that results for the remaining regions would be declared soon. The pass percentage in CBSE Class 10 exam declined to 5% from last year at 90.95%. About more than 16 lakh students appeared for the examination this year. The CBI on Saturday arrested Lieutenant Colonel Ranganathan Survamani Moni and middleman Gaurav Kohli in connection with the transfer racket at the Army headquarters in the national capital. Earlier on Friday, the CBI busted a major transfer racket. It is alleged to involve senior officers who are manipulating postings of officers in lieu of huge illegal gratification. BJP President Amit Shah is in Kerala on 3-day visit. He met several leaders of the party and the RSS. The visit is being seen as part of efforts to strengthen the party's base in the state before the 2019 Lok Sabha polls. The visit also aims at wooing the Dalits and the minority communities in the state. Well, the UN Security Council has expanded targeted sanctions against North Korea in response to a series of missile tests conducted by Pyongyang this year. The measures impose a travel ban and asset freeze on 4 entities and 15 officials, including the head of North Korea's overseas spying operations. The sanctions resolution was adopted by the 15-member council on Friday.
The United Nations Security Council on Friday expanded sanctions against North Korea for its continued missile tests despite repeated warnings. The Council voted unanimously to add 15 individuals and 4 entities linked to North Korea's nuclear and missile programs to a UN sanctions blacklist. The Security Council also strongly condemned Pyongyang for its research and development of nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles since September 2016 in clear defiance of the Council's resolutions. The US said the sanctions sent a clear message to North Korea to stop firing ballistic missiles or face the consequences.
The United States will continue to seek a peaceful, diplomatic resolution to this situation. We want a negotiated solution, but North Korea must fulfill its basic obligations by first stopping all ballistic missile launches and nuclear weapons testing, and taking concrete steps towards getting rid of its nuclear weapons program. Our goal is not regime change. The United States has no wish to threaten the North Korean people or destabilize the Asia-Pacific region. And we have never closed the door to dialogue with North Korea. But as we have said before, all options for responding to future provocations must remain on the table.
In contrast, China, which is Pyongyang's only major ally, called for a peaceful settlement to the issue through strengthening the efforts on non-proliferation and promotion of peace talks.
当前，朝鲜半岛形势复杂敏感，半岛核问题也处在重回对话协商解决正轨的关键窗口期。
Japan and South Korea, meanwhile, reaffirmed bilateral ties with Washington on the sidelines of Asia's premier regional security summit in Singapore. Japan supported the US, saying it will back any option to deal with North Korea, including military strikes.
Security threats North Korea poses to the region and beyond have now entered new stage. To address North Korea's threats, Japan-US alliance is further deepening cooperation and coordination. The United States is making clear through both words and deeds that all options are on the table. I strongly support the US position.
North Korea has conducted 12 missile tests this year, infuriating its neighbors and escalating tension in the Korean peninsula. Before Friday's vote, the North Korean blacklist named 39 individuals and 42 entities and groups subject to sanctions. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Global leaders continue to condemn the United States' decision to pull out of the Paris climate deal. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro described Trump's decision as disastrous and catastrophic, urging
de conciencia, de movilización para obligar al presidente Donald Trump a respetar los acuerdos de París, el acuerdo del COP21. Desde Venezuela lo decimos, porque Venezuela tiene voz propia y nada ni nadie nos va a callar en la verdad por salvar.
We have felt it 50 years ago. We have been telling the world about the problems in the Pacific countries. There's a lot of islands that are basically coral islands. They're sinking. A lot of villages are disappearing from the surface of the earth. So we are very aware of the earth.
Well, let's take a look at more developments from across the globe in Global Buzz. Former FBI Director James Comey will address the US Senate panel on June 8th over Russia's alleged interference in the 2016 US election. According to the committee, Comey will speak at both an open session and behind closed doors, which would allow him to discuss classified information. Comey was fired on May 9th by US President Donald Trump. Indian origin Leo Varadkar is set to be Ireland's youngest Prime Minister. Varadkar will also be the once staunchly Catholic country's first openly gay Prime Minister. Varadkar will be voted in as Prime Minister when Parliament next sits on June 13. Varadkar's father Ashok, who is a doctor, was born in Mumbai, while his mother Miriam is an Irish nurse. Greek police is evacuating migrants from the old abandoned airport in Athens as the site is slated for redevelopment. Over 2,000 people had sought shelter at Athens' Helenkinon airport last year after the closure of the Balkan route to Central Europe. According to police, evacuation has been peaceful so far. At least 37 people were injured in an explosion in a supermarket in the southern city of Shiraz in Iran. According to officials, a gas leak or an explosion of flammable items stored in the supermarket could be the reason behind the blast. The French Open 7-seed Marin Cilic advanced to the fourth round of the men's singles. Cilic defeated Spaniard Feliciano Lopez in straight sets 6-1, 6-3, 6-3. In the women's singles, the world number 2, Simona Halep and 9-seeded Agnieszka Radwanska also progressed to the fourth round with straight sets victories. Halep defeated Russian Daria Kasatkina 6-0, 7-5, while Radwanska beat Elise Cornet 6-2, 6-1 of France. Well, that's it on this newscast. Have a good evening.